Require special assistance to participate at this public meeting, please let us know. We'll try to assist you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Clark. Here. Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Fouch. Here. Councilmember LaFever.
Here.
Councilmember Trump.
Here.
Mayor Fish.
Here. Are there any amendments or removals to tonight's agenda?
Wait a minute. We gotta turn everything on. Is that on? Power. There's a power button.
I make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, any questions or discussion? Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
Councilmember Clark. Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fouch. Councilmember Crum.
Aye.
Tonight's agenda has been approved. Also, please note that Councilmember Johnson is present now, so since it wasn't a roll call, just so that you got it marked. Agenda item number 5 is approve the consent agenda. This is the approval of the minutes of the September 24th, 2012 regular city council meeting. Set date of Monday, October 22nd, 2012 at 7 p.m. for our next regular city council meeting. Approved claims register, and building permits were approved for Brenda Hildreth and Marcia Burmeister.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or discussion?
I have a question. Again,
I just want to make sure that I'm clear. So in the claims register, it talked about Harrison County Development Corp., talked about Harrison County Humane Society and the landfill, and then there's a payment to Logan Fire Department. I'm assuming that we have valid and current 28E agreements or some sort of documentation that allows us to make these payments.
Yes, they are all current. I know that it is a continuing. I'd have to check on some of the other ones, but I know that the Humane Society is, and the County Development Corporation is. I'm not sure how the fireman's was set up, and the landfill actually is set up. That's a yearly assessment, so we pay that monthly, and that is with our 28 agreement with them.
I'm not against the payments, I just want to make sure that we're covering ourselves, that it's going against the agreed upon amount and how it's supposed to work.
Yes, and we'll look those up again just to make sure.
Okay.
Any other questions? Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
Councilmember Clark.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fouch. And Councilmember Crum.
Aye.
Tonight's consent agenda has been approved. Agenda item number 6 is discussed with County Engineer Tom Stoner. He would like to request that we close the Wagon Bridge on 8th Street due to its deteriorating conditions. So, I believe last time, a couple of you may have had a couple questions. So, Tom, do you want to say anything about
I'll
the
just,
here? So,
yeah, the rise and support of the Outer Cyclones. Top 25 team and Nebraska. Oh, I guess Ray wouldn't want to talk about that. Fine. Yeah, our correspondence dates back to 2008 when the Wagon Bridge, as we call it, 8th Street Bridge, was conditionally closed because of some structural problems. The reason for leaving the bridge open, as I recall, was that the city requested having emergency access should the Union Pacific tracks be train block the tracks. We accomplished that by putting some swing gates on the bridge. They're pretty routinely vandalized. People like to bust into the bust whatever they can get close to. So I have, and also there's a condition with the FHWA, that's the Federal Highway Administration, that if we have a bridge open to traffic even conditionally, it must be inspected, and it happens in 2 years. That's around a $500 cost for the inspection of that bridge. And I spent some time on the bridge today. It is in pretty sad shape for a 113-year-old bridge. It's served us well, but I think it's seen its better days. And so it's my intent to close the bridge. Also, I have had a request from a landowner east of the bridge to vacate the road between the Wagon Bridge and L34. I have no objection to doing that, but we have to jump through some hoops to do that. But my request to the City Council is to agree to the closure of the bridge permanently. And what I intend to do is make the closure more permanent again, and remove the swing gauge, put some angle iron welded solidly across the ends. Also probably digging some kind of a trench at the entrance to both ends of the bridge so vehicles cannot get onto the bridge. People will still be able to walk onto the bridge. I know people fish off the bridge. There's a USGS gauging station on the bridge that I'm sure they would want access to, which would also be allowed. But so as far as the bridge being used, have any future at all, it doesn't. I think I indicated to you, Mayor Feder, that the cost of the removal would be between $15,000 and $20,000. I have no interest in doing that at this time. I think the bridge would just remain in place. We have several other bridges in the county that have been closed permanently but not been removed because of the cost. The bridge has in the past, at least in my history in the past, has been a problem with high water, usually in the spring when we have ice flows, and the bridge does block the flows in the Bowie River, and sometimes causing some backups and some flooding. Should that become a major issue, we'll address that again. But for now, what I'm asking the City Council to do is agree with my decision to close the bridge permanently and to disable the bridge as far as vehicular traffic completely, allowing people to walk on the bridge, fish off the bridge, whatever you do on a bridge. And that's if I have any questions, I'd certainly address those at this time.
One of the questions that's brought up to me is when you close the other side, when you vacate that road, the bridge itself will still be 50-50, right, between Logan and the county. You're not actually closing all the way through to the middle of the bridge, so Logan would still only in the future be responsible for half the bridge.
Yeah, for explanation, the bridge, actually the city limits run down the middle of the bridge, north and south, so actually the west half of the bridge is the city, the east half is the county's, which is a little unusual, but it's
I'll sell you our part.
not unique. We're always going to fix the west and east end. I haven't quite worked out the details of how we will close 8th Street east of the bridge, because one of my concerns, I was out there about an hour ago, and there is some kind of a utility on the south side of the bridge. I think that might be an optical fiber, and we'll have to contact those people and make them aware that they'll have to make other arrangements. The bridge used to have a water line and a gas line. Those are both removed now. And I think we'll have to come up with some kind of agreement with USGS and the owners. I believe that's the Zane McBride estate east of the bridge, to have access to that USGS gauging station. That should not be a problem. But right now, all I'm asking is that the city agree with my intent to physically close the bridge so we don't have any vehicles on the bridge. And as I make further progress towards the closure east of the bridge, I will keep you apprised of that situation, Mayor Feder.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, that was the one concern one of the concerns that have been brought to me, so
Well,
I don't have any objections otherwise, but.
I do, I've lived in this town a few years, and I'm aware there were some questions about, I was picking on John Espinola, where are you hiding? Yeah, there was a question about a bicycle access across the bridge for a bike path, that option would still be open. And again, the bridge is not being vacated, it's being closed. There's a big difference between those two. That could be addressed sometime down the future also. I think Mr. Hughes had a question about the emergency use of that bridge should the viaduct be unavailable. The closure of the viaduct, for whatever reason, would not change the situation with the wagon bridge. It's still a 3-ton bridge at best, and probably not even that. So those are the two concerns I heard, and I recognize those and I appreciate those concerns, but we aren't closing the door on those. We're just suggesting that we need to keep people off the bridge with vehicles right now.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Tom.
I'll make a motion that we have approved the request to close the wagon bridge.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
Councilmember Clark. Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fouch.
Aye.
And Councilmember Crum.
Aye.
Agenda item number 6, closure of the old wagon bridge on 8th Street has been approved. So thank you, Tom, for coming tonight for us. Agenda item number 7 is Larry Oliver, Harrison County Emergency Management Director. They're requesting a 28-year agreement for their communication dispatch budget.
Good evening. I do have copies, and thank you for your time. I do have copies if you don't have one in front of you, but what this deals with is the supplemental levy, which all the incorporated cities currently pay into. And it was,
Thanks, Larry.
this deals with the supplemental levy. And it came from the state auditor's office and through our county auditor. And currently, all incorporated cities do participate in the supplemental levy. And what the auditor noted is that there was nothing in writing, and that's where this all developed. I've been working with the county attorney and or the office, as well as the county auditor and the state auditor in writing this document or having them write it. And so what it is just a formality that says continuation of what we currently are doing. There is no asking for a raise or any change in rates, or really it's just a signature finalizing what's been done in the past.
Does anyone in the council have any questions? That was the main question I was going to have, was if there was anything. I thought this was already being collected for, and so that's just what we want to make sure of too. So.
That is correct.
Okay. No other questions from council? Okay, thank you, Larry.
If I just may have just a couple of moments, I'll not take too much time. Continuing with the supplemental levy piece, there is legislation that made it to the State House last year to potentially do away with the supplemental levy. Currently, the emergency management statewide is not for it because many budgets are run through the supplemental levy, so my paycheck comes from there. So. The other piece is that ISAC has taken a stand to not support that. They do not want the supplemental levy to go away. I'm asking just the cities to check with the League of Cities and their own mechanisms to see where they stand on it. But if that legislation becomes active again at the Capitol, I'd like the county to at least be aware of it and to know where they stand and get guidance from this League of Cities or whomever they so choose. And one other item, and this deals with budgets. Legislation was passed last year for emergency management. In the past, my commission has met at budget time and other times as needed, but primarily at budget time. And the mayor or their designee has always been part of that commission. The legislation was passed last year dealing with budget issues. It must be an elected official that votes on that. I can go by Logan in general that the city clerk has been that representative over the past few years. They can still be the representative, but it must be a vote by an elected, whether it's the mayor or an elected council person that is there to vote on the budget. So that's just an awareness piece for you, Randy, as mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, when you send out the budget notice, then we'll make sure that one of us is there. We'll appoint one of the elected officials to go.
Would you like to stop in sometime to sign?
If they pass it tonight, I can do it right now. Unless they want to, if they have any other questions or if they want to hold off.
I make a motion to approve the request by Larry Oliver, Harrison County Emergency Management Director, request for 28E agreement for communication dispatch management.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
Councilmember Clark. Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fouch. And Councilmember Crum.
Aye.
2080 agreement with Harrison County Emergency Management is approved. Okay, agenda item number 8 is closed 3rd Avenue between 6th and 7th Streets on Sunday, October 14th from noon until 5 p.m. for an open house for the fire department. Excuse me, and on Sundays there wouldn't be any businesses or anyone open on that street. I believe the church is out by noon over there.
So there's no need to check with any of the businesses who are not open?
No.
You need a motion for that?
Yes, I'll need a motion to
I'll
close it.
make a motion to close 3rd Avenue between 6th and 7th Street for Sunday, the October 14th, firehouse open, department's open house.
Good.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
Councilmember Clark. Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fouch. And Councilmember Crum.
Aye.
Agenda item number 8, closing 3rd Avenue between 6th and 7th Streets is approved on October 14th. Agenda item number 9 is appoint park board members. We currently have one member that is active, Brittany Norby. So we need to appoint 3 that would be on for 3 years and 3 that would be on for, I believe it was 6 years. Or, yes, 6 years.
Hey Randy, tell me again the gender equality.
To meet the gender equality, since it's a 7 board member now, it either needs to be 4 men and 3 women or 4 women and 3 men, one way or the other. So let me pass this back.
I can start. Here's my thoughts. Passport Park Board, I believe Gary Norby, Nikki Allen, Maxine Lesline, Brittany Norby, and Mary Vaughn. All have expired except for Brittany, I think as you stated. So we have 1 active. Out of the expired, I believe 3 have sent in letters of interest. That would be Nikki, Maxine, and Gary Norby. Mary Vaughn, to my knowledge, has not sent anything in that I have seen anyways. New people interested, Gordon Flea, John Espamiller, Tom Hoff, Amber Francis, and Curtis Hinkle. And I don't think I left anybody off there as well. And we do have the new park board ordinance that expanded it to 7 members. I guess I'll just throw this out to start the discussion. I would propose appointing the past members of the park board. So it would be Brittany, Nikki, Maxine, and Gary Norby. Well, Brittany's already there, don't worry about Brittany, but it would be Gary Norby, Nikki, and Maxine. I think the park board to this point has done an outstanding job. I think they've made our community proud, and if they have an interest, I'd have an interest in them continuing to serve. As far as the new people interested at that point, and again, it's my thoughts only, I would go with Curtis Hinkle and Amber Francis. As far as new members, bringing them on, I can say this because I'm an older guy, but it's bringing the next generation on in terms of some interest in our community, maybe newer ideas, fresh ideas, which I think is exciting. And then for the 7th member, I'd propose Gordy Flea. And I believe that would be 4 females and 3 males.
I like the idea that the old park board members stay on there, and also like the idea of the new people on there and Gordy on there. So I agree.
Well, personally, I think that you're right, but right now I think we ought to stress on our getting a new police officer and getting a new city clerk and holding this off. And now I know it was in the paper again just week before last, so let's see what we get out of that.
How long can you drag this on?
What that's got to do with
I don't disagree with what you've got on there, or what you've said. I agree with it. We started asking park board members back in July. Yes, it was in the paper again, but we've had quite a bit of time to decide it, and I'd like to see us go ahead and act on it. So it's one more thing we can get off the agenda for other things that we're going to keep working on. So it's up to the council what they do.
I would make a motion to appoint Nikki Allen, Maxine Lesline, Gary Norby, Gordon Flea, Amber Francis, and Curtis Hinkle to the park board.
I'll second that. We've put this off for a long time, and we need to get this done so the people can continue on cleaning the parks and doing whatever else they need to do with the parks. And also, we can do this along with finding another police officer and getting Angela back on. I'll second it.
One thing in your motion, like, we do have offset terms for 3 years and 6 years. So we'll need to know who you want to appoint for 3 years and who would be for 6 years. I don't complicate the issue.
Now you're making it difficult. So how many for each did you say? Three?
We need 3 for 3 years and 3 for 6 years.
I would say Nikki, Maxine, and Gary would be 3 years. And I would say the newer ones would be 6 years.
All agree.
That's the amendment to your motion. Any other questions or comments?
I guess my question is, why is, we have committees for this, why wasn't this handled with the committee like everything else is?
I guess nobody's ever brought it up.
Yeah, don't we have a park and recreations committee?
Me and Dean. Randy?
No, I'm not on.
No.
Can they appoint?
I guess when we put it on the agenda, we've talked about it for a long time. I guess there wouldn't be anything wrong with going to the committee, but, I just don't see why I can't talk about it here too. A lot of times committees go to solve problems and stuff. These aren't paid positions. These are volunteers instead of people that we're searching out to hire.
We never did have a committee for the park board. I know we discussed having one recently, but we never had one before. And the park board director for
I think earlier this year, though, we kind of appointed a couple people, so, because we got the other issues with the park,
but
so.
in the past, I thought.
So, and I don't know if we made an actual appointment or if we just had a couple people volunteer to go do it. I know that Dennis and you did it at that time.
I know there's been a lot of emotions involved with appointing some of these positions, and there's certainly been some clear-cut opinions made towards plenty of the council members. At the moment, this is tainting some of our opinions on how to proceed with this. I know it is for me. Some of the incitement and hostility that's been shown towards the council members because of some of our actions recently, as I think.
Put your hand up higher. There you go.
You just be on it?
There you go.
Is that it? Okay. Has, I think, led to some concern that these appointees will serve at the pleasure of the council, which is what the ordinance states. I think there needs to be a relationship between the council and the park board and any appointment that's made by the council. This has been some of my concern going forward with some of the issues we've had recently. And we've made these aware in the last meetings we've had, why we've acted the way we have in several instances, because this relationship has not been clear and has not been one where we felt that it's gone both ways and the information's been shared and that views and things are done out in the open. And this is my reservation about some of these appointees that have been recommended in the motion here tonight. So by proceeding with this, I think I would have some hesitation with approving them. And so I recommend that we wait, that there's plenty of things on the plate. There's a lot of emotion about these things right now that I think needs to be calmed down.
We're having discussion, folks. We're having discussion, which after a motion and a second, we have discussion, so.
That's what I'm referring to, Randy. This is the outbursts and things that have been happening for months that continue to interrupt our proceedings and our ability to do council members. And it proceeds.
Chief, would you come up here, please? Go ahead. Please let us, while we speak, and give our thoughts. We appreciate that. I know that everybody has concerns, and we allow them concerns at the end of the meeting, so please respect that.
You know, just in response, Skip, I would say, I know there's been a lot of water under the bridge. I know there's been a lot of emotion. But we have to put the town back together and we have to move forward. I think everybody is well versed in what everybody feels. And I believe we do have to take the emotion out of it. I think us as council members have the obligation to manage these boards and these committees and open up the dialogue. I agree, they have to reciprocate and open up the dialogue with us as well too. And I think that the folks at least that, well, I think they all would, but the ones that I've talked to, I know would be committed to that. This, on the scale of things, is a minor decision we need to make. We just need to move on. I agree, Dee. There's bigger issues we need to solve and settle and move on as well, too. And I agree with Randy. Let's just get one off our plate and continue to pick these off one at a time. So I don't know why we'd wait. Let's just move forward.
Okay. And the only thing that I would add is Yes, we have had some issues. We've addressed those. I know that some of those you're talking about is the open meetings. We've had training. Maryland also has some newer books coming for these committee members. I know that they have one right now. She's got some more coming here in the next couple days, so that we can hand those out and so that they understand what they've got to do. So. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. So, Councilmember LaFever.
I don't know if I'm one of the candidates I'm related to, so I don't know how I'm supposed to vote on this.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I'll abstain.
You abstain. Councilmember Clark.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Nay.
Councilmember Fouch.
Yes, yea.
Councilmember Crum.
Yes.
Okay, 2-2 vote. The motion currently does not carry. Agenda item number 10. This is one that's come up several times. Excuse me, what will I do? If you want to-
This is one that's come up before. It's been brought up in comments and questions about how much we spent on the budget for publication in the paper of our minutes. My main effort is, and I appreciate Maryland's effort to take these. I know that's not a difficult task. I know these meetings have grown in size and content, has led to the amount of content that we've been putting in them. I think we should make every effort to make them as concise and as brief as possible. There's information in them that is necessary, that adds to the record. I won't dispute that. I think, though, that we've gotten out of hand in just little areas, and even every word that we can remove here is another dollar in our coffers. I mean, all the stuff that we send to the paper talks about your introduction to the meeting and stuff. I don't think that needs to be included in there. There's a whole sentence there that wouldn't need to be included. There's fine tuning that could be done. I think another continued concern that I have is that that we run the larger and more content we get in here, the more we run the risk of editorializing the minutes. We have the paper that can do that. We should be putting out similar to what the school board puts out as far as just the basic bones of the meeting. So that was my concern, is that we do continue to run a high budget on the publication of our minutes.
And I know that this is something that has been addressed by a couple of the citizens before too, that I think one time we did have a full-page ad with our minutes, so.
I don't disagree with that, Skip. I think that's something we need to look at. The other comment I would make is I believe that we probably need to have a formal process on how we manage the minutes going forward, including who can make changes and who has the final say or decision on the final official minutes. My thought would be is that we would submit our recommended changes to the mayor, and then the mayor would have the final say so, and then they would become official. Because I know we kind of go back and forth sometimes in email or whatever, and I don't necessarily know where we land or where we end. So I would recommend that we propose our changes to the mayor, and the mayor has the final say.
Regarding the process, though, that's the point. That's the area that I don't disagree with the latter part. The process, I think, is what I'm more looking at, is how we get to the material that needs to be published. Again, we maybe haven't looked at that in a long time. We're going with the status quo. We're going with what's been done over the years, and not necessarily under the circumstances what we're paying out to publish anything and everything, that might be said or not said during the meeting. That's
I kind of agree with you, but I'd like to do something a little bit different. Let's run them like the school board does for a time or two and see what the citizens think. If they give us enough feedback, that they want more in the paper, then we could put more in the paper. Change it. Because some of the citizens don't, get the paper, so they have no idea what's going on. And the older folks, they don't have computers and email and that sort of thing, so they don't, they can't go online. So it'd be, let the citizens decide.
I agree with you, Denny. That's a good, I think they give them the opportunity to, after it runs a couple times, to give their ideas and go from there.
Okay, does that sound like we're pretty much in agreement that that's where we want to go, is to try a little bit different? One thing when we make the final change, it was suggested what we ought to do for the future is we adopt a resolution as to how we're going to do the minutes, just so that it is in place for the future, so that we kind of keep it going. I don't think that there's anything in place right now that I've seen. Excuse me. So what I would say is we'll just work with Marilyn on this one and see what we get approved. If somebody's got some critiques or something, it might take us a couple of meetings, like Dennis said, to get there and before everybody can see it in the paper and everything to see where we're at. So.
One of the things we added, Randy, when we initially started talking about this was the fact that we weren't capturing all the comments, and with our present recording device, I think we've improved that, and I think obviously an effort's been made to significantly improve that, both with the taping and then obviously raise efforts with the video. But I think we have captured the ability to go back and see what actually was said by whom and how and all those pertinent things that way. So that's documented, and maybe just we need to review again how this is being stored and maybe make that more formalized going forward.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Marilyn, does that sound good to you?
Do you have any other issues, Marilyn?
There was one other one. Do you want to talk about the motions? Which leads up to the minutes, so.
Yeah, just something that I would like you guys to watch for is to, when you make your motions, make them as they are on the agenda, so that when I do the minutes, that's what I can put in there. Okay?
And that way, I know that before we've had, back earlier this year when we're talking about something, we had, yeah, I'll make the motion, let's do that, or something, and this way, if it's spoken, it's in the record, for what the actual agenda item is, so.
Can we start this meeting, though, when we have change requests? Because I hate to put Marilyn on the spot, and I think we do that when we have change requests. Can those go, we can copy Marilyn or whatever, but can they go to you, Randy, and then you can decide?
If that's all right with everybody else, do you want to do that? Excuse me, to save some time for her, so that.
So send them to you first, and then you will send them out? Or?
No, it'll just be if anyone has any changes, they'll send it back to me. And yeah. So
The problem I see with that is, sometimes they don't get done till Friday morning, and they gotta be in at noon. So, I try Thursday, but what if I don't get them done till Friday? And I need everybody to respond and say, looks good, or whatever, because if I don't hear anything, then I don't know. So.
And that would be just to respond individually, just copying back to Marilyn. If you've got a change, that day, just in case I'm not in the office or something, what I would suggest is copy Marilyn and I, because if I don't get back to her right away, she knows to call me. say, what do you think of this? We also have the ability to change the minutes at the next meeting before we approve them during the consent agenda if we need to. We definitely want to try to get as much correct up front as we can. We haven't had to change too many, so that's been good. So. Any other questions or comments? Move on to agenda item number 11. This is discussion and decision on the mayor, the clerk, and the city council, the contact with the city attorney. And I believe, Mike, you wanted to talk about this one.
Should get used to this, but I'm not. So, I think that after reviewing the expenses on the legal side over the last, we'll just say month, but let's say 3 months because we're in a new fiscal year, so July, August, and September, we're already $1,093 over our budget. And I believe that budget is not only legal expenses, but it's also auditor and engineering as well. So we're digging ourselves a hole here a bit. And what I'm recommending, among a lot of things, but the one thing tonight I want to recommend is we put a structure and a process in place around managing our legal expenses. And what I would propose would be is that, and I believe it used to be this way, in fact I know it used to be this way, where if we as councils have questions or comments or concerns we think need legal attention, we would then inform the mayor or the city clerk. And at that point, they would be the ones then to make the contact. So there's no confusion, we're clear, there's continuity around the issues at hand, and we're managing and controlling our legal expenses as best we can.
Yeah, I can appreciate, Mike, the consciousness of the budget. I think we're all charged with being fiscally responsible and accountable for the city's money and what we're doing with it, especially as it pertains to these funds with the attorney. And I think I don't see a reason. I went back and looked at the attorneys in the code, what we have in the code regarding there, and it repeatedly states mayor or council can go to the attorney. And I think this is also one of the issues that brought us to this point that I've had concerns about in the past with not having access and not getting responses from the city attorney that were critical to our successful operation and functioning as a council. And because of the lack of that,
Please hold down.
I see no reason to roll back our code as far as the access that council members have to it. At the same time, I say I agree totally that we need to be fiscally responsible, and we're charged with that with everything that we do. Every decision that we're making is spending money or on that side. So that's no different with the city attorney. We need to be conscious. We all know his rate per hour. We all know the time that he puts into every question that we ask and how much that's going to come back to us. Every meeting, closed session that we call, that we bring him in here and have him show up in person. We had 2 of those recently, Mike, that you called. So both those meetings were very expensive on the city. That's something we need to be conscious of every time we do that. So I agree.
Yeah, I did call the closed session, and I think they were for a particular purpose. But getting back into, I don't know how we as a city manage even our legal exposure if we have multiple people calling in, asking questions, when when the mayor, the CEO of the city, maybe doesn't even know that we all are lobbing calls in there for what particular purpose, and how do we have a unified front? How do we... It's just for me it's confusion and a lack of direction unless we have a quarterback kind of coordinating what we're all doing. Because I could be calling in and asking some things, you could be AD, all of us, but at the end of the day, do each of us know individually, holistically what we're doing? Probably not. So.
think Aaron's agreed to keep us all appraised of all those things. He made that promise and commitment. I think he's upheld that and done that going forward. And I've been impressed with his ability to do that on divisive issues where there's maybe been differing opinions. He's kept everybody appraised of where it's going. I have no problem, and I've copied Randy in on all my communications with Aaron. So, again, we're watching how many people we copy in on these emails due to not having more than 2 of us on each of these emails. And that's been under the recommendation of our attorney. And so I'm copying Randy in on my communications. I don't know what the others are doing, if they're even communicating, but again, if I'm not hearing something back from Aaron, which he's promised to do, I'm assuming no one's approached him with anything. That was his commitment to us.
Again, the issue for me, Skip, is this, and actually, I was on the last bill a couple of times as well, too. So you don't know what I was talking to him about. And you were on the bill a few times with Nick. I don't know what you were talking about. I do copy Randy, and it sounds like you copy him as well. But it just seems like it just isn't a collaborative approach to how we do things here. And maybe what Randy needs to do is every meeting fill us in on what's happening with the city attorney. Holistically.
I have no problem with that. You guys have talked about when you've had a question that you copy me also. Do we want to go to where you copy me real quick first and we talk about it and say, is this something we really need to send to him or not? And then we can give the update later on, just to try to look at it that way. I mean, that's up to you guys. That'd be another way around it. So.
And that's the first attempt. I always do that. Yeah.
That's just another thought.
The recent items we discussed, Randy, maybe you haven't had an answer. So then it's like, okay, if we don't have an answer, then we need to go to the next step. Yeah, you're free. Your rate's a lot cheaper than it is.
Yeah. So, okay, we'll try that, see if we can keep communication open, make sure that, just so we can watch what we're doing there, to make sure we mitigate our attorney expenses. So, like Mike said, we've got a lot of year left, so we'll watch that. Agenda item number 12, this was update from the Personnel Committee on city clerk applicants. I did the update, you want me to do it?
It's a brief, not a lot to it.
Last night we had a Personnel Committee meeting. We had 7 applicants. It went through that 6 applicants are going to be interviewed. And we have not set up any interviews yet. We have not started calling on those. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, we made a comment that we didn't know if they were all available or would be all available.
Right.
Some of those have been made quite a ways back.
I have a couple comments. One is, I want to, and if they're in the crowd here, I want to thank everybody, all 7 applicants that applied. We really appreciate the interest, and we certainly need to fill our position. Dee, I couldn't agree with you more. They seem like all good individuals and good people with varying backgrounds and skill sets. How I look at it, though, I believe out of 7, we have 2 applicants that have previous experience or applicable experience. And for where we're at today as a city, I'm probably not in favor, or I'm not in favor of moving forward and interviewing candidates with no experience at this time. I think we should start with the most experience and work down. If in fact we get to a point where we think we need to hire somebody with no experience, I think we need to have good discussions with this lady here, Marilyn, who's been busting her butt and doing tremendous amounts of work, because she's probably more qualified than some of the people that applied over the last month or so.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
I do have one other thing. I'm sorry. In terms of, and maybe this isn't the right place, but I'm going to put it in there and stop me if it isn't. Again, as far as Maryland goes, she has been thrown into quite a situation here. And Maryland, we appreciate all that you do. And you were only with us a short period of time and didn't have the proper training. And you're doing the best you can, and don't think that we don't appreciate that. I would like to at least bring up, and I don't know the proper procedure, but when we are down staff in the police department, there is where we look at a bonus opportunity because we're doing extra work. I would like to recommend that we put together something as well for Maryland.
Yeah, we won't be able to talk about any of that tonight since it's not on the agenda, but.
I'd like to put that on the agenda as soon as possible and actually retro that back.
So we'll put that on the next agenda, definitely. We don't want to go into any discussion because that's not on the agenda, so.